Hey guys, my name is Robert and welcome to my React series. In this introductory video, I will talk about what React is and some of the basics. This video assumes some familiarity with JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. You will need to install Node on your computer. If you haven't already installed Node, I use Homebrew and I ran this command right here. Alright, so what is React? React is a JavaScript library made by Facebook for building user interfaces using components. In React, you describe what your UI will look like in its different states and switch to these states based on user input. These states could be something like, is the user in input or typing mode? Is the user in viewing mode? Is the user in editing mode? In regular JavaScript, you manipulate the UI directly in an imperative way, telling it exactly what to do step by step. Whereas in React, the approach is declarative, where you describe your UI as mentioned before. Let's start off by writing some example code in regular JavaScript and write the same thing in React to see this. All right, so let's start off with a simple test.html file. And let's open that up here. All right. Then we're going to make some real basic styles that I will use. So we'll make one called hidden to hide elements. Little spelling mistake here. We'll make an error class. Perfect. So now the first thing we're going to code is we're going to code a list of items and a add to item list or whatever. All right, so and then we're going to do the input element to collect the value. Give ourselves some more space. All right, so right now it does nothing. Next, we're going to make your typical show hide. Oops. We're going to call this just as an example. And then we're going to make a button to hide it. We'll just call it control for now. And then we're going to make a just a simple form that submits a guess. We'll put enter guess. And then we will add a class of and we'll just have it called guess. All right, so your JavaScript might look something like the following. So, oops. I'm going to use this simple thing just to wait for the page to load before we execute our JavaScript. We're going to select the item list here. And then we're going to select the content element. And then we're going to first code this part right here. And for this, we're going to pass, I'm going to use a function called add item, and we're going to pass in the item list right here. All right, we'll call this function add item, takes that as a parameter, and then this function will take care of adding an item. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to get the input, this right here. Right, and only if there is value do we want to create the new element. So let's create the element only if there is a value. So we're gonna add whatever input that was put here as the text content, which will show up here. And then let's go ahead and clear out the input once that's done. And then let's just line these up so that it looks somewhat uniform. All right, and then we're actually gonna add the new item to the list. All right, let's go ahead and test that out. Reload. That didn't work. Add item is not defined. Oh. All right. So that works. Now we are going to code this part right here, the functionality for that part. So let's go ahead and code that. And as I recall, select it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use some destructuring. And we're going to pass it to a function called toggle content, just for now, simple example. And we're going to pass it content. All right, and then let's go ahead and define that function. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to toggle the class hidden. Oops. And what this will do is this will either add or remove this class, which is defined up here. And then what we want to do is we want to change the content of this button to either say hide or show paragraph. So first we need to check if it's hidden. And we will do done. We will do it this way. And then we will change the text content to be either hide or right. Let's go ahead and line these up. Oops. Oops. Wrong buttons. Right. So that works. That's fine. And then we are going to code the part for this right here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to simulate a AJAX request. So we're going to write a basic function that simulates an AJAX request. And we're going to return reject, and we're going to say I'm going to use set timeout since we don't want this to execute right away. 3,000 seconds, 3,000 milliseconds, and we're going to say if payload to lower. case. And that way we're not worried about straight casing. We're going to return right answer. Otherwise, we're going to return reject new error. And we're going to say wrong answer. Like that. All right, now that we have that in place, we're going to write the code that actually submits the form. So, I'm going to go over here and we're going to same thing. We're going to select the form and we're going to do dot add event listener, submit, and we're going to call a function called submit form. And let me think. Yep, that looks right. We're going to pass in the event. All right, so prevent default. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need the form, which is already here. And then we need the input element, or the guess. And then we need the submit button. And then we need the response div. Which was, oh, we didn't even give it one yet. Oops. So we'll make one. Oops. We'll call it response message, and we'll have it hidden for now. All right, so select this, copy that, put it in here, and then let's just go ahead and line these up. First thing we need to do is we need to, let's just disable inputs. So we're going to disable the submit button. We're going to disable the input element. And then we are going to unhide the response div. And then we're going to provide some feedback that we're fetching the answer. And then we're going to we're actually gonna go here, and we're also gonna add error This is where, when the second time around, some of these might be there, you know, if there was success or error or whatever. So it'll basically like reset all of them. So now we're actually going to make the request, and we're going to pass in, actually, if input element dot value, we are only going to pass, we're only going to make the request if there is a value. So pass in the value, and then we are going to display the response. Right? And then we're going to add a class to the response div. Right? And then if there's an error, we are basically going to do the same thing, but instead of success, it's going to be error. And then we're going to have a finally block where we will re-enable all of these. All right, so we're going to enter in a guess. That is wrong. Oh. Misspellings. And it works. Wrong answer. Okay. Let's enter in something that is correct. And boom, voila. So yeah, this is basically how you do it in regular JavaScript, telling it step by step what to do, and you update the UI directly. Now we're going to see how to do the exact same thing that this code does, but in React. So we're going to open up our terminal, and we are going to install, or yeah, we're going to download React. And yep, so we're going to use something called npx, and this command called create React app. We'll just call it app. Now this is going to take a while, so I'm going to cut the video here and then come back when this is all installed.